Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We've got something really special for you. Today, we aren't just rattling off facts and figures. As you'll see through these incredibly detailed, storytelling-style digital paintings we've put together, we're going to explore how the food served behind bars reveals the true unvarnished nature of our global penal systems. So, settle in, because we're about to go on a seriously immersive journey. Just look at this opening scene. That rusted metal tray sitting under a flickering cell light really poses a profound question, doesn't it? What do 100 years of prison meals actually look like? Because, it's not just about calories on a plate. It's a reflection of discipline, survival, punishment, and, as we'll see, in some very rare cases, absolute profound privilege. Let's dive right in. Section 1. Survival, Punishments, and Rations. Let's take a look at the history. Okay, so going back to the 1850s in the United States, inmates were basically fed what was called mystery meat. And yes, it was as bad as it sounds. A repulsive boiled mixture of animal fat, scraps, and sometimes quite literally rotting meat. Moving forward a bit to the 1880s, you've got the infamous outlaw Billy the Kid. While under maximum security, his menu was nothing but unseasoned, boiled bacon, and beans. And jumping over to Russia in the 1910s, things weren't any better. Prisoners there had to survive on this cold, totally flavorless gruel made of oats and water. It literally had the texture of wet cement. It was zero pleasure, maximum punishment. But, culinary punishment isn't just some relic of the distant past. Enter the Nutraloaf. This thing originated around the 1900s, but it's still haunting modern inmates today. This isn't a meal, guys. It's a straight-up disciplinary tool. Picture this: a dense, baked block of mashed-up meat, vegetables, and honestly whatever else happens to be on hand. It is so notoriously vile and foul-smelling that inmates have literally vomited just from looking at it. To put that into perspective, it's considered so inhumane that it's been officially banned in 12 U.S. states. Moving on to Section 2. Hustle and Contraband. Now, since the 1920s, alcohol has obviously been strictly banned in prisons. But come on, did that ever really stop the inmates? To make what's known as prison hooch, the process is just, wow, it's born out of pure desperation. First, you smuggle oranges, ketchup, and jam from the canteen. Then, you mix all of that with hot water in a hidden container, stash it somewhere away from the prying eyes of the guards, and just let it ferment for a week. The result? Well, actually, it's basically a foul-smelling, rotting smoothie that somehow, against all odds, produces alcohol. But hey, not all contraband is liquid. Prisoners use whatever they can get their hands on to reclaim just a tiny piece of joy. Take the prison burrito, for example. You take a bag of chips, crush them all up, and mix in steaming hot noodles. You roll that whole mixture tightly into a bandana, and then, okay, here's the really ingenious part. You hide it under your bed covers for 5 minutes. The trapped body heat actually cooks it into a solid mass. It's this wild masterpiece of desperation and creativity that, believe it or not, actually tastes surprisingly good. Section 3. Privileges of famous criminals. This is where things get wild. So there is a glaring, almost unbelievable disparity in how the justice system treats different inmates. On one hand, you've got the legendary mobster Al Capone at Alcatraz back in the 1930s. He got real meat, beans, and he could even buy Twinkies from the prison canteen with money he earned. But his punishment was heavily psychological. He was forced to eat his meals in absolute agonizing silence. Now compare that to cartel kingpin Pablo Escobar in 1991. The man literally built his own custom prison, La Catedral. It had a panoramic view, a nightclub, and a private kitchen. Escobar was dining on stuffed turkey, 2 different types of salmon, and caviar. It was a 5-star resort just masquerading as a penitentiary. And just to bring this contrast into our modern political era, we have the former French president, Nicolas Sarkozy, who received a sentence in 2025. His highly debated, super minimalist meal consisted of nothing more than plain yogurt and a basic can of tuna in sunflower oil, a stark, very austere reality that sits in such sharp contrast to those caviar-fueled feasts of the criminal underworld heavyweights we just talked about. Section 4. Let's take a global prison tour. When we look globally, the sheer extremes of these environments are staggering. In El Salvador, prisons are famously subjected to extreme overcrowding. We're talking hundreds of inmates packed into single cells where even having a fork is considered a luxury. They survive on chaotic, bare minimum rations of just plain plantains and beans. But then, Jump across the world to Japan in the 2000s, and you find the exact opposite: rigid, sterile perfection. The meals there feature immaculate presentation, perfectly cooked salmon, rice, noodles. But there's a huge catch. It is strictly unseasoned. No salt, no pepper, just absolute flavorless discipline.
And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates how food is used for control, even in incredibly wealthy nations. Look at Singapore in the 1980s. Inmates were kept in simple cells under constant, unyielding surveillance. Their meals were incredibly basic, just rice, vegetables, and fish. But the truly punishing detail? It was all served completely cold. A harsh, desolate meal custom-made for a highly controlled environment.
Section 5. Final Meals of the Condemned. Now, the profound emotional weight of these final requests, it's truly striking. Back in 1963, a man named Victor Feger was executed. His final meal request, just a single olive with the pit still inside. He hoped an olive tree, a universal symbol of peace, would grow from his grave. And after his execution, they actually found that very pit resting in the pocket of his suit. It's incredibly heavy. Now, contrast that poetic minimalism with Peter Menil in 2004, whose final request was an unimaginably enormous, chaotic feast of fast food. The crucial point to understand here is the sheer, surreal volume of what McNeil ordered. I mean, listen to this. 4 liters of soda, a spicy jalapeno pizza, chicken tenders, spaghetti, cheeseburgers, 20 beef tacos, enchiladas, cake, and a tub of ice cream. It is just a staggering amount of food. It acts as this massive, desperate cheat meal that contrasts violently with the dark, empty, permanent reality of the execution chamber waiting just down the hall. Let's move to Section 6, Norway, the rehabilitative approach. Okay, let's step out of the dark for a second. Notice the warm, glowing sunlight in this scene? We are looking at Halden Prison in Norway, which is widely considered the best and most humane prison in the entire world. Here, the approach is entirely focused on rehabilitation, not retribution. Inmates are actually encouraged to cook their own meals. We are talking about fresh lasagna garnished with basil, gourmet garlic bread, and, get this, even workshops where they bake heart-shaped waffles. Here, culinary dignity isn't treated as some rare privilege. It is an active, intended tool for healing and reintegrating people back into society.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. From the decaying mystery meat of the 1850s to the heart-shaped waffles of modern Norway, we really have to ask ourselves as a society, is the purpose of prison to break a person down or to build them back up? The food we serve to the condemned tells us exactly who we are. Take a moment to reflect on that as these beautiful cinematic visuals fade out, and always keep seeking to understand the systems that shape our world. Thanks for joining me.